Hey, Jake.
Hey, Adam.
Have you heard that song that goes, spent a lot of money on a brand new guitar? Who is that by?
I couldn't tell you.
Isn't that like Lil Pump or something?
Probably.
It had what's his name? Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, are you,
Old Town Road.
I think I'm... Oh, that one. Yeah. I forgot it said that in the song. I've only heard it like once.
So the other day, I was in the shower, and I was cracking myself up because I had heard that song for like the first time the day before, right? And I was losing it because I thought it would be so funny if the whole song, he's just going, got the horses in the back, got the horses in the back, got the horses in the back, got the horses in the back. Like, just like the whole fucking song.
Oh, so it's one of those, the years start coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop. It's one of those kinds of edits is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You hope someone will make.
Yeah. But not only that.
Fair enough.
I want everything to be that except for the part when he goes, spend a lot of money. I want it to go, spend a lot of money on a fucking guitar. Like, and I don't know why.
Fair enough.
I think that's fucking hilarious. And the fact that you didn't laugh makes me a little concerned at our friendship, honestly.
I'm sorry, our what?
All right, Jake, you've seen Endgame, haven't you?
Yeah.
This is already off to a rocky start. So
I think that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So let's see. Over the course of this past week, I had to play a little catch up. Because you watched Ant-Man and Captain Marvel basically as they came out, correct?
Yeah. I think the only film in the entire MCU I didn't catch in the theaters was the Ed Norton Hulk film. Caught that on Blu-ray.
Oh.
I guess whenever it came out, I guess it was like late 2008, and I rented it with my dad.
Was that Hulk or Incredible Hulk? Sounds like it was Incredible Hulk.
Incredible Hulk.
Oh, okay,
yeah, Hulk was like 03,
Hulk was like
I
2000.
think.
Yeah,
that was the one that Ang Lee did that wasn't part of the MCU.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still, I always forget that there were two Hulk movies. I like that.
It's funny you say that because I could never forget that. I remember seeing the Ang Lee Hulk film in 2003. And even though I think it was 03, and if that's the case, I would have been about 9. And I just remember, like, whatever the 9-year-old brain version of, this is really bleak, would be, that's what I was thinking.
I think, I can't remember if I saw it, but I think I did. And I think I had a very similar response to that film.
And for what it's worth, I mean, Hulk is typically a pretty bleak character in a lot of cases, like very tragic.
True.
But I don't know. I feel like Batman Begins is a fairly bleak superhero movie, but it makes sense for what it is, you know?
True. I realized we kind of jumped into it, and even though I've mentioned you in videos before, a lot of people might not know who the fuck you are. So why don't...
Oh, right. I'm the brain behind Adamnator. Adam is my mouthpiece.
Yep.
All opinions except for the bad ones are mine.
Yeah, pretty much. Jake, do you want to go into what you were doing before you jumped on the Adamnator train, or are we leaving that out of the mythos?
I don't know if I was doing anything before that happened. I was just kind of in a dark room for a few years. I maybe had some sushi, maybe watched some Seinfeld. But other than that, I didn't really do much of anything. Right?
That really explains your sense of humor, honestly. Just sitting in a fucking like room.
I'm just picturing me now
anything.
With just a pair of chopsticks. My hands are like cramped into the shape of holding chopsticks because every time I finish another piece of sushi, they just bring another one out, and it's like, okay, well, once you you don't have to eat it right now, but you definitely want to keep yourself alive, and on top of that, it's fish. It goes bad if you don't eat it too soon. So
now I'm just picturing you. In just
it's like that movie Room starring Brie Larson. Hey, speaking of Brie Larson, remember Scott Pilgrim versus the World? That was a pretty good movie.
She was in. I still haven't seen that, and I feel like a fake nerd. Then. I feel like a fake nerd. But
you should.
Yeah, I haven't played the game either. But then again, no one's played the game except for a privileged
Chris Evans is in there too. Hey, I've got the game. It's great.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Oh God, when the fuck am I visiting?
Right, it's great. It legitimately is. It's one of my favorite little beat 'em ups. It's good. I think it's such trash that it's not available anymore.
Seriously, that's one of those games that I've like. It's historical to me, you know, and you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you know me, you know how fucking weird I am about like wanting to play through like a whole series before the new installment, or like wanting to like I love like going through a game series from like beginning to end, or like, you know, just reading up on like the fucking weird little facts behind a game, and the fact that game is loved by like anyone who has ever played it, and you just can't. Yeah, everyone is.
I've never heard anyone say anything particularly negative about it. You know, other than like maybe like, oh, it's kind of tough, but I mean, it's a beat 'em up, so of course it's going to be pretty tough. You know, it's yeah. There's really, there's not too much wrong with it, and
I've seen a video.
No one new can play it.
I've seen a video on YouTube, and I haven't really tried it yet. I just downloaded the necessary files that was like how to get Scott Pilgrim running on a PC emulator or on your 360 via USB or like something like that. And I really want to try it out, because if that works, that'd be incredible. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not one to say, hey, people go break the law, but there's no legal way to get your hands on it. So I mean, yeah, fucking go for it.
Yeah. Oh, of course. That's why.
Because it deserves to be played. You know, I mean, I know it's one of those things that gets hammered into everybody's heads, but I'm absolutely with everybody who's like, game preservation. It's important. You know.
Yeah. Have you
preservation of art in general is important. You know, that's why like the whole Notre Dame fucking burning down is so tragic. Like
I still,
that building itself is art.
Yeah,
you know?
I still haven't looked into whether or not they figured out if the fucking crown of thorns they think Jesus wore burned or not. Like, like, because that was in that building supposedly. Like, what? How insane is that? That like so much is just gone. Like that's. I feel like we basically witnessed a newer burning of Alexandria, you know, like, like holy shit.
Absolutely.
I could not believe my eyes, because I think I was out with my dad most of that day, looking at fucking bald eagles of all things. Like we found a couple, and it was a really fun day with my dad. But we went back to his place and started watching the news, and it was just like, oh yeah, one of the like landmarks of the world is burning. We were like, what?
I remember you were the one who told me about it.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been online really at all that day.
Did I message you that day?
And you're like, hey, did you hear
Maybe
this is happening? And I thought you were joking at first.
Yeah, you were like, what? You're like, dude, shut the fuck up. That's so funny. But we are way fucking off topic. I don't even remember. I wanted to say something to kind of bring us back. But I don't even fucking know anymore.
Well, to be fair, it's my fault, because obviously the whole point of this was supposed to be like, all right, we're going to talk about Endgame, but you also just recently watched Ant-Man and Wasp and Captain Marvel, so we were going to talk about the two of those quickly, I suppose, before we got into the Endgame spoilers. And then, so my whole thing was, the reason I brought up Brie Larson was, you see, it's called Subverting Your Expectations. I learned it from this guy named Ryan Johnson. And
dude, Ryan Johnson, who doesn't love?
So yeah, that's why I brought up.
I can't wait for his Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah,
his canceled Star Wars trilogy, dude. And here's the thing: I didn't even hate The Last Jedi.
I'll be honest, I actually like it quite a bit.
I like it.
I don't love it, but I like it quite a bit.
I liked it a lot up until they didn't fully go through with like what they were kind of getting at, which was Kylo Ren and what's her name, Daisy Ridley, joining forces.
Yeah.
But it just didn't happen, and I was like, wow, this is 1,000 times less interesting. Same thing with fucking Palpatine. I swear to God, I'll say it till the day I die. I hate the fact that he's at the end of that trailer and he's going to be in the movie to some capacity. I swear to God. It was so funny because when that trailer played today in Endgame, my little brother leaned over to me and said about my stepdad, he goes, Dad doesn't want to see this movie. And I just go, and I just lean over to him and I go, I don't know, I might be there with him. And when the Palpatine laugh happened at the end of the trailer, when he's like, I look over at my stepdad and he has the most like upset. I think he's like, honest to God, I think he was plugging his ears. Like, this man, this grown man was like, he was pissed. And I just looked at him and I just gave a thumbs down. And I saw his eyes light up in respect. And I was just like, at least there's something. I can get some clout with my fucking stepdad. Oh, God.
The funny thing, too, about that trailer is, honestly, I was pretty on board with it until the Palpatine laugh.
Me too.
And then I just kind of, like, it's one of those things where, any weird decision in a movie, like, I'll be fine with it if it turns out that the way it was handled was, I guess, tactful enough, So, if the movie comes out and Palpatine ends up being incorporated in it, in a way that works, I can't really imagine what that would be, but if I leave saying, that worked, then, that'll be fine.
I'll be real,
it's definitely something... Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead.
I completely agree. I just, on principle right now, because I can only see it being shitty. I can only see in my head, like, the vision I have in my head is like, they're gonna fuck it up. But if they don't, if they somehow
don't... At the very
don't,
least, that's... Yeah.
If they don't, somehow, what's his fucking name, can pull it off, if Abrams can pull it off, I will 100% leave that theater with a lot more respect for him and actually be like, okay, you know what? I mean, they did it. Shit. But the only, like, in my mind, it's like... I hate it because it just ruins Vader's, I think it ruins his arc to have Palpatine just come back. Like, why, like, what?
Even if he's just, like, some sort of vengeful spirit, it still feels like it's kind of...
Yeah, it just makes it...
It's like, well, if he can just come back as a spirit, then what was the point of really even killing him anyway? I mean, obviously, I get it.
Yeah.
He still saved his son, but it was more... symbolic than just that.
Exactly. And I'm just afraid.
My favorite part of the movie is where he yells no when he does it. That's my favorite part.
God.
And then he is Ghost Hayden Christensen.
Ghost Hayden. That's the best way I've ever heard that put.
Yeah.
I hate caring about Star Wars, but I do.
It's painful. It's really painful.
I can't help myself. What is the Rich Evans quote? How does it feel to watch every franchise you've loved go down in flames? And Mike responds, "It feels great." Like, it really feels that way. It really feels just like, oh no. And the thing is, again, if they do it well, fine. But at the same time, another part of me says, it's just boring. It's so, like, boring and, like, almost expected. It's like, why do that? Because it's literally the least interesting thing you could do, in my opinion. Just bring Palpatine back instead of, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just irritating. I don't want to be another angry fucking guy online yelling about Palpatine when this is supposed to be about Endgame.
And who?
Christ. Yeah, who's she?
This is about Ender's Game?
Yeah.
That movie wasn't great. The book's really good.
Great movie. Wasn't that written by the fucking...
A noted homophobe? Yes.
Well, yeah, a homophobe, but didn't that guy make like Scientology or something? Isn't that written by?
No, you're thinking of L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, but
L.
didn't
Ron
he
Hubbard's
wrote?
the Scientologist guy. The guy who wrote Ender's Game, Orson Scott Card, I think is his name.
Yeah, didn't he have like a cult or something too, or no?
If he did, this is the first I'm hearing about it. I think he's just.
Okay.
I think he's just kind of not a fan of
the gays.
The gays.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good harmony.
Yeah.
I thought didn't L. Ron Hubbard write sci-fi books too?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
and
that's why I get the two confused.
He was a terrible writer. Terrible writer.
Anyway, let's get back on track here. I'm just gonna force conversation here.
So Adam, how did you feel about Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I literally only just saw it like 3 days ago. As of a week ago, I had not seen either it or Captain Marvel. And then on Wednesday of last week, I sat down and watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I loved it. I don't know if I'd say loved, but it was really, really fun, and I liked it more than I thought I would.
That's fair. I mean, especially after I guess everybody. Well, I want to say everybody kind of, talked it down. But really, I honestly don't feel like I've heard a whole lot of discussion on it.
Yeah, me neither.
Even around when it was coming out, like I think even Red Letter Media skipped out on doing a half in the bag on it. I don't think there was one.
I thought I was about to say. I literally was about to say I haven't watched that one because I didn't want to. But I'll look it up real quick. But
Sure.
Yeah, I really I liked it. It was really fun. It didn't obviously, the stakes were relatively low, and I think I prefer when Marvel movies have low stakes, Dude, agree. I mean, again, we're about to talk about Endgame, but I really do enjoy these kind of like, we have to just save my fucking wife, so let's do that. And they're trying to prevent us from doing that, so shit. It's really. Yeah. I love the fact that Black Goliath was in the movie. That was really cool.
Oh, right. Also, yeah, spoilers for literally any MCU movie.
Yeah, we're going to spoil every MCU movie. Literally,
and by that I mean
all.
we're probably only going to be talking about these three, but let's be real here.
It's a very high possibility. If you haven't seen these
three, but you're interested, you've probably seen most or all of the other ones that you're interested in. So,
yeah. But I didn't even really know who that character was, Bill Foster, until. But I was like, that name sounds familiar. I was like, this guy is somebody, right? And I look him up, and I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, Black Goliath. That's awesome. Like, that's so it's so cool. That he was in that. Was he in the? I don't think he was in the first one.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think so, but I've seen that actor in a lot of things, so just kind of one of those.
That actor.
I don't know what's his name. I completely.
Come on, man! You've seen The Matrix.
Oh fuck yeah! It is him. What is it?
Come on, you got
this. I'm so
this.
bad at actors' names. I want to look it up. Like I'm about to look it up, but
fine. I'll tell you. Lawrence Fishburne.
I would not have guessed that. I'd never in a million years would I have been like, oh yeah, Lawrence Fishburne.
I don't remember what it was, but I saw a movie with him that was made, I want to say in the 90s at some point. And I don't even remember what it was, but in the credits, he wasn't going by that name yet. So he was credited as Larry Fishburne, which is just the best.
Yeah, my boy Larry. He certainly looks like a Larry. Like what?
Yeah, right.
He really doesn't. But that's the joke. But I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp a lot. That the main theme, it's called the Hope Van Dyne theme. Sweet, excuse me. It's really good. It's like the dun 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 dun, like however, the orchestral theme. It's really solid. It's like, it might have been the first Marvel movie in a while to where I go, this score is great,
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I do feel like recently the MCU has finally been, I guess, tackling two of its biggest issues that it had for the longest time, which was, one, fairly weak villains, and also weak original scores, essentially. Yeah. For instance, a film like Doctor Strange has a terrible villain, which sucks because I love Mads Mikkelsen, but he doesn't get anything to do in that movie, really. But I think the score for Doctor Strange is really good, especially the main theme. And that was the first time, other than the main Avengers theme, that was like the first time in a Marvel movie that I remember thinking, oh wow, this is actually really well done.
Yeah, besides, okay, I have a question. Do you think any superhero theme, let's not count anything before it. You can say you like something before it more, but do you think anything else will ever top the Danny Elfman Spider-Man theme from the Sam Raimi movies? Because I don't know if it's possible. I was thinking about this the other day. I really don't know if anything will ever top that Danny Elfman Spider-Man theme. I don't think you can. It's
really good.
Because the only thing
I think the main theme of the Dark Knight trilogy is pretty good.
See, here's the thing. I probably haven't seen those movies enough or heard it enough, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And I'm not a big enough Batman fan to probably know it, because if I was, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so it makes sense why I know the da na na, But that's why I said, don't really consider things from the past, because arguably the Danny Elfman Batman theme might, might beat it, but I don't know.
That's a good one too.
I think I prefer.
Well, and of course, the Superman 1 theme is great as well.
Ooh, true. For me, Danny Elfman Spider-Man totally tops it.
I mean, I can't blame you for that.
It's a little. I hate to say it, but it's kind of a little. It's like slightly dated. To a degree.
Well, yeah.
To a very slight degree.
That doesn't, it's, I don't really think it matters so much that it's dated.
Yeah, not at all.
Simply because it sounds like something that came out of the year 2001 or 2, whenever that movie came out. But that's when that movie came out. So that doesn't really bother me, Oh,
wait, you said, we're talking Superman Returns or?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Spider-Man theme.
Oh, I am. Okay, I thought you were saying, no, I think the Spider-Man, I don't really even think Spider-Man the theme is that dated. It may be slightly, but I was saying the Superman
didn't
theme.
Either, but I was more replying to you. Saying that because I thought that's what you were saying. So,
that's a pretty good blanket.
That's well. I'll be honest with you. That's not what I was even going for. But you know what?
It sounded very blanket. But no, I was referring to the Superman theme. It's kind of timeless, but at the same time.
Oh yeah, that one I'll definitely give you. That definitely sounds like.
In my mind.
It definitely sounds like it's 1970 something, and we're making a Superman movie.
That's true.
In the same way that spider blood, radioactive spider blood is very indicative of its time.
Is that Spider-Man Unlimited?
I think so.
Radioactive.
I think that was
blood.
the name. I think that was the name of that series. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember the name of every single Spider-Man cartoon series.
I never saw. No, that was just Spider-Man. That was just the Spider-Man intro.
Was that just the Spider-Man?
Yeah, okay. Spider-Man Unlimited was just like an instrumental theme, and it was really good.
Oh, okay.
It's actually pretty solid. Yeah, I will
always be a sucker for the classic Spider-Man theme.
Oh yeah, like
because he does whatever a spider can.
So
and actually,
can I just...
speaking of themes, the opening of Homecoming, when they play the orchestral version of that, I loved that. That was great.
It's very good.
I honestly remember being in the theater and just like getting goosebumps and being like, "Oh my god, they used it!"
I know. And then when they when they slightly tweaked it for the Far From Home trailer, when it's like da 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 da, like dude, I fucking nutted. It was so good. It was so.
That sounds uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty
in a public space, but okay.
Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable. But yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp is good. It's solid. I love the fact that Scott was just trapped in the fucking quantum realm for 5 years.
It's a good way to get rid of him and then have him come back and say, "Hey, how about time travel?"
Yeah, because apparently it was only like 5 minutes to him. But then you have to think about how
5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours. But then you have to think about how, what's her name, Hank Pym's wife, was down there for like 50 years, and she comes back and looks just as much of an old lady as Hank Pym.
Yeah, I remember thinking, at the time, whenever I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, they just didn't want to have to do CGI on Michelle Pfeiffer to keep her young looking. But now, with the context of Endgame and how apparently it's just the quantum realm, it's just weird. Like, that's the plot, is that it's weird.
I like
it's like
that.
Oh, you can now just chalk it up to being like, the quantum realm's weird, guys.
Yeah, I'm okay. I am okay with that though. Like, I'm not gonna be that much of a fucking nitpicky
I'm fine overlooking that. Like,
seriously,
I agree.
yeah.
I think that would be a nitpick for sure.
But the scene where, like, this, I think Endgame, not to start talking about Endgame too soon before Captain Marvel, but I think the scene when he goes, like, after he gets out of the quantum realm, just goes to show why Paul Rudd is one of my new favorite actors, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he has such
great.
a range. Like, it was really touching, the scene when he... it might talk too much, but I forget what his daughter's name is, but the scene...
Cassie.
Yeah, the scene where he goes to see Cassie, and she's like 5 years older, and they thought he got fucking snapped. But, it was so good. I cried like 10 times during that fucking movie. Anyway.
Hey, fair enough.
So, Captain Marvel. I saw Captain Marvel like 24 hours ago. I literally saw it the night before I saw Endgame, and
it sure is okay.
I had a lot of fun with it. Like, I don't know if I liked it as much as I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I saw it, and I was like, why the fuck is everyone making such a fuss about this? I was like, this is good. I was like, this is fine. I don't think there was any reason, really, for people to, like, make as much of as much of like a social justice girl movie as much as they did,
right.
Yeah,
I definitely not on board with that whole line of thought.
Yeah.
For me, here's the thing with Captain Marvel, right?
Sure.
I feel like there's not really anything new I can say about it that hasn't already been said by a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. But if I were to just quickly summarize my opinion of it, I think it's a fine superhero movie. It's a fun movie, Mm-hmm. But I think the pacing is kind of all over the place. I think all of the space stuff at the beginning is kind of boring and takes a little too long to get her to Earth, which is what you really want to see. And again, I want to be very clear that I like Brie Larson quite a bit as an actress. I really think she's pretty talented. Mm-hmm. And I think the directors of the film are good too. If you've ever seen this little film they did called Half Nelson with Ryan Gosling.
I haven't.
It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. And I think maybe they're just not all that well suited to direct like a comic book movie, I guess, specifically. Because it turned out fine, but I didn't really feel like I got much of a directorial voice like you get from the Russo brothers or Taika Waititi, James Gunn, even Jon Favreau when he made Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, which I'm not huge on, but like they still feel like a Jon Favreau movie, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like
maybe there was
I feel like they wanted Brie Larson to be like 4 different characters. That's my thing. I feel like she really changes her tone too unpredictably, which I didn't really think was an issue at all in Endgame.
Well,
so I kind of do chalk it up to the direction.
I don't know if it's even direction or studio interference or what. I think that can literally be here's the thing. I think I've heard that so much that going into it, I kept that in mind. I barely fucking saw any of that. Give me the characters that she supposedly goes in and out of.
Okay.
Because I barely saw that at all.
So there are a few parts of the movie where she's just like this stoic, kind of humorless force, essentially. There are the bits
where was that?
A lot of the space stuff feels like that.
That's what they're trying to make her. I think everything that I've heard of that can all be excused with plot. That's they were trying to make her, and literally they said control your emotions, don't tap into your emotions. And whenever she's on Earth, she's like this happy-go-lucky, snarky, kind of like not a piece of shit, but like you know, she's just like this. She's actually pretty funny, and I don't know. I didn't see a problem with it at all because it seemed all plot related. Like literally the way they told the story all like kind of fragmented. I liked what they tried to do with that.
Okay, but here's a question for you. Why would she just suddenly, the moment she's on Earth, decide, okay, after all these years of being trained to be stoic and uncaring, immediately start messing with people?
She was messing with people in space even too. Do you remember the scene
I'll
on the
train? I'll be honest,
train?
I haven't seen it since when it was in theaters, so I might be misremembering.
There was the scene on the train where she was messing with what's his name? Like one of the first fucking scenes, she was like teasing him.
Was she? I honestly don't remember that.
She was like she was totally teasing him about just something. I don't know. Like he said a line, and in like the whole movie, she was like fighting that, and I don't know. I guess I could see what you mean if like you point to, when she has like full powers and she's like serious. But here's the thing. Robert Downey Jr. is a snarky asshole, and there are moments where he gets full suited and he has to become serious. Like a character isn't like one thing. You know what I mean? Like
I agree with you. I feel like I'm not maybe explaining myself as well as I can, but it's hard to do when I haven't seen the movie in a while.
That's true.
Point.
It's a little unfair. I saw it last night,
but I will just say I do remember feeling that way, and just feeling that it didn't really feel like, to me at least, it didn't feel like a natural. Like I don't know. It almost felt like it didn't feel like the same person putting on different faces so much as it almost felt like a different person to me personally.
Okay.
But I will say, I think just about every scene where it's her interacting with Sam Jackson, especially the ones that are one-on-one between the two of them, I think it shines so well.
Their dynamic
I think they do an excellent job of establishing the two of them as friends. That's why whenever the post-credit scene pops up and you've got her standing behind everybody and she's like, where's Fury? It's like, oh, I get that. That's her friend. She's legitimately concerned.
Yeah. She's like, she wants... Yeah. It felt really... I liked that a lot. I thought them together was the best part of the movie. Yeah. I did not expect... Somehow I didn't get spoiled on the fact that Coulson comes back for it. And I don't know why...
Oh, yeah. See, I totally did.
I don't know why I didn't know that or like get spoiled on it, but that was a nice little surprise for me, just being like,
I definitely would have liked I definitely would have enjoyed more Coulson, but at the same time it wouldn't have made sense for the story they were telling, really. And plus he gets to have his cool moment of letting them go because he recognizes that Fury knows what he's doing. I thought Ben Mendelsohn was great. I love how he always plays villains in things, and then in this you're like, oh, we got Ben Mendelsohn as villain again, which is something he's good at, but then it turns out that he's not at all, and that was fun.
So
and I feel bad because I can't remember the name of the actress who played the best friend character, but I thought she was really good as well.
She was good.
I thought that even though Brie Larson herself didn't really get to shine in that movie, I feel like in some ways it was elevated by the cast and her interactions with them. But I think if Captain Marvel is, in a potential sequel, is portrayed similarly to the way she's portrayed in Endgame, where to me she did feel like someone who has these multiple sides to her.
Yeah, I think it might have just been because
I think it could be a lot better.
I think what happened was just I don't know if it was rushed or what, but I feel like that might have happened, and then the writing might have got left by the wayside a bit. It just, out of necessity of this movie has to be out before Endgame, maybe. But, and again, that's just postulation, but I didn't really see many problems with her characterization. There were a few moments where I could see it, but maybe I just was going in expecting it to be egregious, and when it wasn't that bad, I was like, what are people looking for?
But I don't think I was ever guilty of telling you that it's terrible or anything.
No, I mean, I did watch. It's kind of my fault because I watched a little bit of the Red Letter Media review before watching it, and I even got spoiled somehow. I forget what it was, if maybe I watched just a little too far into that, or I saw it online somewhere, but I did get spoiled on the twist for Captain Marvel 2, the Skrulls are good thing.
I mean, to be fair, that's one of those twists that you could guess,
Oh, definitely, especially when the kind of threatening music plays. There were a couple stings of music swells with what's his name, the guy the captain who was trying to control her or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember the character's name, but Jude Law's character.
Yeah. And so that was, you could kind of see it coming there, and then them being like, don't have any emotions, blah, blah, blah. It was very much like villain talk. I thought it was really neat seeing, and and then he was talking to Ronan, and at that point I was like, oh, well, how did everyone not know at this point of the movie, when he pulls up his thing and is like, yeah, Ronan, I'm working for you, right? Yeah, I'm evil. Yep. Okay, bye. That, that was pretty much what it was. Unless people just don't remember Ronan the Accuser, and on that point, I don't blame them. On one hand,
you can't really blame them, but at the same time, I it's funny, despite the fact that Ronan is kind of just your stereotypical stock villain, I remember him more compared to some other ones, whatever the name of the bad guy in Thor the Dark World
I was about to say Thor Dark World, the Blood Elves, the Dark Elves.
I remember him more just because he works in such a great contrast to specifically Peter Quill and really the Guardians as a whole.
And the fact that
they're
he's
so
blue.
Goofy and weird. Well, yeah, and he's blue. But they're so goofy and weird, and he's just this standard...
He's a very sterile...
comic book villain, Yeah, he's not even, super powered. He just has a big old hammer.
He just has a big hammer? It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just kind of an ethnic cleansing prick, you know?
Yeah. So as someone who I never really read many things about the Skrulls, I never, I knew about them and I knew they were bad or whatever. But I know someone who's way into comics and really wasn't a fan of the fact that they made them good in this, and I was curious what you thought about the twist and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm vaguely familiar with the Skrulls as well, but again, I'm not a huge comic guy either.
I think they're mostly X-Men villains, ?
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine, but I'm also one of those people who loves what they did with the Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
I mean, I do too, but that's because I don't care about the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Again,
that's fair.
I think Mike Stoklos put it pretty well when he goes, "Oh, I can't believe they fucked up the Mandarin. I've been waiting 30 years for them to use the Mandarin in a film." Like, who the fuck cares? I like it. I like what they did with the Mandarin. But
I agree.
But still, like, it's so weird. Fantastic Four villains, maybe? I don't even know what the Skrulls even, like, were, but, anyway.
I think in the comics they are still, like, an alien race, you know?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, but I gotta say, I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, I don't, I didn't, it'll be interesting to see what they do with them in the future, if anything.
For sure. If anything.
I think, you know, that's, like, again, I don't know how many people actually care about the Skrulls, so it's one of those things where it's
true.
like, if they just leave them be, I don't think many people will have a problem with that.
Right, people will probably just say themselves, well, she took them and they found a new planet and now they're happy.
Yeah, I really liked...
There was one time when half of them disappeared, but then half of them came back, so it was fine.
Yeah. I really liked the scene where, what's his name, the main Skrull dude, is in their house.
We'll just call him Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, okay. When Ben Mendelsohn is in Captain Marvel's friend's house, and he very quickly goes from, like, villainous asshole kind of threatening the child outside to
just fucking goofy.
Okay, yeah, let's talk. And then and then you start to like him, and then like a minute later he's just kind of goofy, and I really liked that. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, and it puts into perspective the little scene when he's disguised as human Ben Mendelsohn, and they have the corpse that they're doing the autopsy on, and after everybody leaves, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he says something like
have a good pass.
like rest in peace, essentially.
Yeah, he says, like, pass on
my
to the
brother,
eternal.
and it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be super sinister, just like, oh shit, he's one of them. And then in retrospect, you can kind of read that as, oh man, his buddy died.
Yeah, and it's even funnier that the scientist in the background goes, sir, I wouldn't get too close to that if I were you. like then now it's just like a funny scene, knowing everything. But it was interesting. Even when watching the film, I could somehow I was able to kind of leave me knowing the twist out of it and just kind of watch what was happening, and be led by the threads of the film. And I didn't find myself having many problems with the twist at all. I thought it felt natural, and I even think that I even really like the fact that it was told non-chronologically. I think it was kind of obviously, narratively necessary, but it was interesting, and it was nice to just see that they're willing to do something weird. It was very weird. Like, when the Skrulls were, like, probing her mind, that fucking scene was so weird and cool when it was like cool. Her experiencing her old memories. Like, I was sitting there and I was like, this is the coolest shit I've seen in a long time in a Marvel movie. That was neat.
It was handled really interestingly. It kind of like the same way that the magic in Doctor Strange turns things into, like, the mirror dimension turns things into Inception.
Yeah, yes.
Which is another one of those things where it's like, Doctor Strange, not a great movie, but a decent movie, and with some really cool ideas for sure.
Oh, definitely.
And plus, I mean, come on, it's got Tilda Swinton in it, and everybody likes Tilda Swinton.
Oh yeah, it was really nice to see her kind of return for a second in Endgame.
Yeah, and I love that she's just like, wait, did you say Stephen Strange? He won't, he's still a surgeon. He won't be doing this for 5 more years. And it's like, oh yeah, of course she would know. She has the time stone.
Yeah, right. But wait, why wouldn't she know that he gave up the stone too?
Because she died before it happened.
Oh, fuck, you're right. Okay, yeah, well, then there you go. She didn't have the, yeah.
Yeah, because remember, she, during her death scene in that movie, which is one of the best scenes in that movie, there's the whole part where she's like, I just keep coming back to this moment over and over again, and it always ends the same. Like, this is it for me, and it's just like, cool. Like, not a sarcastic cool, but like, that's cool.
It is really cool. It's very sad.
She's
but
just
really
fine
cool.
with it.
Yeah. I Doctor Strange was interesting. I saw that in theaters, and it was like, I can't remember if I saw that
It's
with
a good
a girl
theater
or not.
movie, I think, for sure.
I think I might have seen it like with my girlfriend at the time, because that was 2016.
I think so.
No, okay, I don't. No, I didn't. I didn't actually see that with someone. I thought I might have. Yeah, I saw that, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know much about this character. I've seen him. I've read him in like a couple comics, but he was like featured in them. He wasn't like, the main hero. And I've always been fascinated by him. So it was interesting to see him in that movie. I like his powers a lot. I like the visual effect. God, I don't want to think about the fucking compositing for this film. Oh my God.
Yeah, I always loved how Thor was magic, but backed up by science. And then you get Doctor Strange, and he's just magic.
He's just magic.
He's just magic.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It was interesting to see Asgard again. Speaking of Thor, that was so... Okay, Thor in Endgame is one of the best parts of Endgame.
Oh, of course. Of course, a lot of people are pissed about it.
What, that he's tubby?
That he's fat, and that people are making fun of, or the people are pissed that the fact that he is fat is played for a joke.
Oh,
seriously,
but
if you Google search fat Thor, you will find at least like 6, 7, maybe 8 articles all saying the exact same thing.
I would argue, here's why that is. So it's not that it's funny to be fat. It's that.
Well, of course not.
It's that
Thor.
Well,
I'll let you say
it's that Thor, one of the fucking hunkiest guys of the MCU,
exactly.
got fat.
My thoughts exactly.
That's what's funny about
that's
it.
The humor.
It's not
of
like
it.
pointing at fat people, going, "Ha ha, you're look, you dumb fuck, you fat fuck." Like, that's not what it is. It's that Thor let himself go. That's what's funny, and that he has a beer belly. Yeah. I love the fact that Thor has a beer belly. That's so funny.
That's what happens when Thor drinks as much as he did before the first Thor movie, but doesn't exercise as much as he did before the first Thor movie.
And plays Fortnite with Taika Waititi.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I just Googled Fat Thor because I wanted to find an article to give you some quotes from.
Yeah.
And 6 hours ago, there's one that gives me a little bit more hope in the world, and it says, "Why Thor's wild Avengers Endgame arc makes perfect sense." So at least there's someone.
What website is that published by?
I don't know, something called BGR. I don't know what that's short
I thought
for,
it was going to be like one of the big,
at least it's
like
someone.
a big thing. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it at all. I mean, I totally get where it's coming from, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Seeing him see his mom is really interesting because I barely remember, because not really caring about the Thor movies that much before Thor 3, I barely remembered, that being a thing, that his mom died, But that was really touching.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It really, it was really sad, but it was so cool to see Loki in his prison, and okay, I kind of want to save this for later. Let's save the implications of the story in Endgame for later. But
sure.
I do want to come back to Loki, but
specifically Loki.
Specifically Loki. So let's start, I guess, from the beginning. I have to wrap my head around this. So I did not expect them to just be I did not expect them to murder Thanos within 10 minutes.
Right?
That was insane. And of course, the cosmonaut video we were talking about recently, the one perfect scene of Thanos on the farm. I loved that when I saw Infinity War, and but I was like, what is he gonna do? He looks defenseless, and I remember thinking, but at the same time, he doesn't look like he cares.
Yeah.
But they went
He's
there.
accomplished what he needed to accomplish.
Yeah, they fuck him up. Thor literally just, axes
Aims for the head.
Yeah, I love the fact that he said that. I love the fact that he goes, I aimed for... It's like, what did you do? I went for the head. Like,
and it wasn't like a one-liner either. You could tell that he decided mid swing of the axe, like, this isn't gonna fix anything.
Yeah.
It was like, I get the feeling he was like, this is gonna be cathartic. Then the moment it happened, the way he walks away, and you're just like, oh, Thor.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, it didn't. Revenge. It's a lesson in like every single movie ever that like revenge doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, I remember I feel bad because I don't know who to attribute this quote to, but I was watching something a while back, and someone was saying, has there ever been a story where revenge just has actually been the answer and it's worked out great for somebody? And I got to thinking, I guess not. But then I also thought, oh wait, John Wick.
True. John Wick.
I don't. He isn't emotionally ruined by it because he's already emotionally ruined.
True.
True. So John Wick, he gets what he wants out of it. Well, I mean, unless you bring in the sequel, but just as a film on its own, John Wick 1, that's a movie where someone gets revenge and it works out great for him.
That's true. I'd have to really look into some other, like, what else there is in that regard. Yeah, so that was fascinating. The fact that they just like when the way the text was revealed, when it goes 5 years later, I couldn't believe my eyes. I went, what do you mean 5 years later? Like, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I was like, okay. I was like, I guess this is where we're going. I couldn't believe it. And another question, the first thing that popped into my mind is who in Peter Parker's class got dusted and who didn't, and some of them are going to be
right, because it's like some years. Of them, some of them have already graduated. Some of them are in college. Some of them have jobs.
I guess
it's a good thing that it's a good thing his buddy is clearly there with him.
Yeah, I guess we can assume that everyone important in
definitely. Well, yeah, because in the Far From Home trailer, yeah, because the buddy's there.
MJ isn't like 5 years older.
MJ's there. Flash is there. Thank God.
Oh, right.
Can I also just say, I hate that for the trailer, they made Flash's insult less biting, just a little bit.
Oh, how did they?
Do you remember when the trailer first came out, there's the bit where he's like, what? Spider-Man protects us. He's great. And then Peter walks up and he's like, yo, what's up, dickwad?
Yeah.
In the trailer that I saw before Endgame, they had him saying buttwad instead of dickwad.
I think I heard that too. I hope they keep
I'm hoping
dickwad.
That they didn't censor that. Yeah, I'm hoping they didn't censor that down for the actual movie.
I think they probably did.
I hope that's just a trailer.
Because, okay, did you hear a single fuck in Endgame?
No, not a single one, which I wasn't expecting.
I wasn't really either, but was there one in either Guardians movie?
No, I don't think there's been any MCU, a single one. The closest we got was when Fury is disappearing at the end of Infinity War, and he's like, mother, and then it cuts out.
That's right.
Which was great, because, that's not even a Fury joke, that's a Sam Jackson joke.
That's a Samuel Jackson. That's so cool.
I love him.
I love it so much. I really enjoy... I just love Nick Fury so much. When he came back in, what was that, Ultron, I was so happy.
Oh, that was so good, because he wasn't, that I can remember, he wasn't really in any of the Phase 2 movies, was he?
No, because he was kind of confirmed for dead, more or less. And
then he wasn't.
Yeah. I wonder if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still a thing.
Oh, that's right, because he was in Winter Soldier. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. He was in Winter Soldier, and that's right, because they covered up his death, and then he had to go underground, and that's why he didn't show up again until Ultron. That's right. Mm-hmm. I remember that now.
I wonder if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, like, still a thing or not.
I think they're still making it, but I'm not sure exactly how it's working timeline-wise.
Did you know that Ghost Rider was in it as of like 2 years ago?
Really? I haven't actually seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's pretty good. The first couple seasons were enjoyable. They had like, do you know the Marvel character Mr. Hyde?
I know of him.
He was fucking
I'm not
in
too
it.
Familiar though.
The Inhumans are a part of it. The Kree were in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like years ago, which made it weird.
Around the time when the only Kree we really knew of, well, I guess it was pretty much just Ronan, right?
Yeah, like the Kree, dude. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually really fucking cool because of like all the Inhumans. Yeah, I hear it's good. I just
never did sit down and watch it.
Yeah, no, like I'd be interested to watch through it with you. I know there's a lot of it, but it's
it might be something to do sometime
for sure.
Is Joss Whedon still involved with it? Because I know he felt pretty burned after
I don't know
Ultron, and that's why he didn't direct Infinity War.
Oh shit, there's been a season.
As much as I
trailer.
love Joss Whedon's work, I am glad that he didn't direct Infinity War and Endgame, because I don't think we would have had the same movie. Mm-hmm. I think we needed it to be the Russos.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a season 6 trailer came out recently. Like, shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, seriously. I just saw how Avengers Endgame finally acknowledged the MCU's TV universe. How did it do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, he runs into... Yeah, it's true. So, yeah, did you ever watch Agent Carter?
I honestly, the only shows that are technically part of the continuity of the MCU that I've actually watched are Daredevil and Jessica Jones.
Oh fuck, you haven't even seen Luke Cage?
I haven't even seen Luke Cage or Punisher or the Defenders.
I haven't seen Punisher. Defenders I stopped watching like halfway through. I got kind of bored.
Oh really?
Yeah, I want to keep going in it, but it was I think I was just watching a lot of MCU stuff at the time. So I
hear the one on Hulu is good as well, but I don't remember what it's
Cloak
called.
And
It's
Dagger.
the one where it's the kid. No, it's the one where it's like the teenage characters and they find out that their parents are like supervillains and they don't want to be evil or something.
Oh fuck, that one. Oh, the horror one.
What's that called?
The horror one?
I hear that one's supposed to be. I'm not sure if it's a horror thing or
it
not.
Looks
I just know that it's
crazy.
supposed to be pretty good.
Marvel on Hulu. Runaways.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't realize their parents were villains. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's like the whole plot. That makes sense why it's called Runaways. They literally run away from their parents because they're like this supervillain syndicate, essentially.
I didn't even realize that they posted that show. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think it's on like its 3rd season, maybe.
Wait, excuse me?
It's either on the 3rd season or between the 2nd.
There's 2 seasons. Wait, what? So maybe this isn't the one I saw, because it was like Marvel trailer horror show. Because there was like a...
I don't know about a horror show. I know that New Mutants movie.
That's what it was.
The X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
The New Mutants
I believe
trailer.
Is supposed to be.
That one looks fucking crazy.
That movie was supposed to come out like a year ago, I think, and they just kept delaying it. I don't know. Now that Disney has it, I don't know when the hell it's going to come out. It looked really interesting based on the trailer I saw.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still going to be rated R. I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. And it's just like my thing with the whole, Disney Fox buyout thing is I didn't love Deadpool 1. I thought it was fine, but I was glad that it was successful because it made way for Logan to exist, and Logan is a goddamn masterpiece. But I also really loved Deadpool 2. I liked that it didn't have to be an origin story for him, and it just got to do what it wanted to do. And the idea of there potentially not being another one of those, that's upsetting to me.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. I don't think Ryan Reynolds is not going to let that
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
die.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be one as well, but part of me does feel like maybe they say, well, this isn't really congruent with our brand, so...
I don't see that happening. Honestly, I really don't.
I hope not to. I hope not to, but... You know me, I can be a little skeptical of things at times, maybe a little too much, so I try not to be.
Ryan Reynolds says Deadpool 3 is in the works.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes
here, let
me
me
feel
see.
better then.
Will be completely different. Interesting.
Well, you see, it'll be completely different because it's going to be rated G.
We're gonna have Thumper,
and we're going to call him
Thumper, the
a
little bunny
live
from
pool.
Bambi is going to be
Isn't
my
that a
co-star.
funny joke? I like how we both just made terrible jokes over each other, so now hopefully the quote-unquote audience won't be able to hear either of them, and that's probably for the best.
Good.
Yes.
But they were looking to go in a completely different direction. So the people who made it, it's interesting. Okay. Ryan Reynolds says his team was already at work on Deadpool 3. He did say, however, that in the third installment, they were, quote, looking to go in a completely different direction, saying that, quote, often they reboot or change a character maybe like 4 movies too late. Interesting.
That is interesting.
That's neat. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm. You know, I saw a trailer. We need to get back on Endgame, but the trailer for Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, it looks cool. I hope it's good. Because let's be real, the trailer for Apocalypse was good too.
That's
Apocalypse,
true.
And you know, Apocalypse wasn't trash, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it's kind of like
there was some really good Magneto stuff in it.
True.
And a Quicksilver scene that managed to be even better than the one from Days of Future Past.
There's definitely some I keep
good
forgetting that
stuff in there.
Apocalypse happened.
Yeah, right. Don't we all? But yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff in there, but all in all, it's just kind of.
Yeah, that came out in 2016. Oh my God, that was 3 years ago.
Wow.
That's wild. I'm interested to see how they kind of close out. Because I think they're about to close out this kind of era of X-Men with Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I think they are too. I think aside from any potential Deadpool-related content, I wouldn't be surprised if the X-Men film universe as we know it ends with this. You know?
I'm very okay with that because it feels like
I kind of am too.
It felt like it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And while, I kind of don't like the fact that Disney owns everything, it'll be interesting to see them tackle X-Men in the MCU at a certain point.
What I want more than anything though is because at least Fox's X-Men franchise, there's some real garbage in there, but there's a lot of really great movies too.
Oh, dude, I want to rewatch.
There's never been a good Fantastic Four movie, and I really want to see a Fantastic Four movie that doesn't suck.
I wonder if it's just because the wrong people were working on it both times, or what. Well, I guess all 3 times.
I mean, that has to be it, really.
Yeah, and
I feel like any time a movie's bad and it doesn't have a bad premise, because the premise of giving. Guardians of the Galaxy proves that weird it can be fine for a movie. You could make a good movie out of weird, strange characters.
Yeah, that's true.
So in that case, yeah, Fantastic Four are great, and the fact that they haven't had a good movie, I think just, it's very much the people working on it. And that's not to say anything of the actors, obviously, some super talented actors
it's
in
true.
those movies. But,
I still think it's hysterical that Dwayne Johnson plays Groot, and yet all he does is say...
No, it's Vin Diesel.
Oh, that's what I mean. I get the two confused. Yeah. Fuck. I love that it's Vin Diesel, and all he does is go, I am Groot. It's so funny.
I don't mind it, because I'm not a big Vin Diesel fan. I find him annoying, but I do I love him as Groot, because Groot's just a fun character.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you, actually, that
I'm
when
not
the first Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out, I was talking to my parents, and I was like, hey guys, that new Marvel movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, is out. It's got Chris Pratt in it, from Parks and Rec. My mom's like, oh yeah, I love that guy. He's great. And it's got Zoe Saldana, remember? She was in Avatar and other things, but mostly that's what people remembered her for at the time. And Bradley Cooper's in it as a talking raccoon. And it didn't click for my mom, the talking raccoon bit. She heard Bradley Cooper and she's like, yeah, okay, I'll go with you. And then after the movie, she was like, I didn't really like that all that much. And I thought you said Bradley Cooper was in it. And I was like, yeah, he was Rocket Raccoon. And she was like, that was him? I thought you meant he was like in the movie. And then I made her watch the movie again after it had come out on Blu-ray. And she ended up loving it.
Yeah.
But she had like tempered her expectations initially the first time.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's so funny. What have I seen Bradley Cooper? I saw Bradley Cooper in a movie like very recently, and I can't.
Maybe A Star Is Born?
No, I have not seen that. I don't know. He just
are you maybe thinking of Wet Hot American Summer?
I am, because I was literally about to say, is
you just
he in
watched
Wet
that
Hot
recently.
American Summer?
Yeah.
So there you go. Then
It
that
was
makes
his first film role.
total sense.
He had just graduated from I forget where he went, but wherever he went and got his degree in acting. He had just graduated, I think a few days before they started filming Wet Hot American Summer. It was his first professional role.
Damn. Okay. But yeah. So Endgame. So the 5-year jump.
I like how they opened with Hawkeye. It was good.
That was
he deserved it.
Very necessary.
Yeah. Also, even though as soon as the scene opens, you're like, okay, I know exactly what's about to happen. It's still like the moment she walks off, like out of frame, the daughter. It's like, oh, I know what just happened, but it's still gonna hurt whenever he realizes
that
it.
shit
And it does.
hurted. Like it was.
Dude, the moment that he's like, honey, and no one answers back, and the entire audience goes, as if they didn't know. I love seeing audience reactions to things like that.
I do too,
Great.
but then sometimes you get what happened today.
Sometimes it's too much.
So there was a guy today who, when Iron Man, when fucking Robert Downey Jr., or maybe it was Chris Evans actually, one of them like kind of looks out past the camera and goes, Avengers? And then like right before he says assemble, some fucker...
The guy said assemble, didn't he?
No, some guy behind us goes really loud, goes, say it!
Oh my god, that's even worse.
Yeah, he goes, Avengers, say it! Assemble. And then and I was just like, what? Dude, who the fuck are you?
That actually reminds me of, something that happened to me back whenever I was seeing Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Spoiler for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Anyway, the part where, right at the end of the movie, when Dobby sacrifices himself, and the part where Harry's like, I want to bury him properly, without magic. This fucking nerd who had read the book probably a million times, right before, while Harry's pausing for a beat before he says that, this kid's like, I want to bury him properly without magic. And then Harry says it, and I'm like, it's such a good line, and this kid ruined it for me.
Ugh, that's awful. So I guess keeping relative chronology, the time jump, and then I will say, if there's any problem I have with this movie, it's that it took me a minute to remember everything about Black Widow and all the baggage that came with her character before her sacrifice. But
okay, that's fair.
But I do feel like everything that she had, even just in this movie, made it feel proper. Because when Hawkeye was trying to do it, I was like, you better fucking stop him. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be okay.
He's bringing his family back. He's got too much to live for.
Exactly.
It's not okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, man, that scene,
it was really good.
It got me, man.
It was very good. And I find it interesting that you can do that you know, that you can like just jump off. And
but yeah, because she knew that at that moment, you know, for the two of them, they, I guess, were what mattered the most to each other, you know, because his family was gone. The only real person he had left alive was her, and really vice versa for her, you know? So
yeah, no,
it made the most sense that the two of them just happened to be the ones who ended up going there. But man, the look on Banner's face when she doesn't come back fucking killed me, dude.
I know. Oh,
like finding out, like, oh man, after all this time, he still loved her. Like, that's so. Oh man.
Okay, I that made me really sad, but seeing Hulk Banner is the coolest thing.
Oh,
ever.
Dude, I loved it so much. I'm so glad that's where they went with him.
Yeah,
because
it's such a good
for
arc.
The longest time, especially in like Ragnarok, when they were making it very clear that this is like a Jekyll and Hyde situation, like they're supposed to be two separate people having to share the same body. I always kind of thought to myself, I really prefer this interpretation that Hulk is Banner, but neither of them realizes it.
Yeah.
And I like that after the time jump, they realize it. They're one person, you know, the crazy, violent, brutal Hulk persona is dissipated back into just Banner himself at this point. You know, and I really like that that's the direction they went. He
realized it's just him, but angry and green and big.
Exactly.
You got that? Excuse me, do you have a big banner?
Right. I also loved how Valkyrie is like, you know, I think I liked you better either of the other ways.
That was a fantastic line. That was really, really good. Oh my god. And same with what did Spider-Man had a line that was really good, and I think it was when Captain Marvel was there, and he goes, like, he's like in fetal position, and he's like, I'm Peter Parker, and he, like he said some shit like that, and he just gives her the gauntlet. It was so cool. Oh my god. Yes. I was like, I knew they would come, but part of me was scared for a minute that like we wouldn't get to see everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. That like the fight would mostly be between the people we had seen.
Can I just say that bringing back Korg and Meek was wonderful, even if all they do is play Fortnite?
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about Fortnite being in this fucking movie.
I don't either.
But
well, all it's gonna do is date the movie. I agree. But
what if they just change the
Korg,
game?
So it's better.
Yeah.
They George Lucas it, but it's just changing the game.
But for every iteration of the release, for every re-release.
every time it comes out for a home release again, it's like, oh, whatever game is popular, that's what they're playing.
I mean, again, I get why they did it. They were like, my kid likes Fortnite.
It was cross promotion too. You know, they were in Fortnite, so they probably felt like, we ought to put Fortnite in there. Oh, fuck,
that's true.
And hey, at least it's not egregious, you know?
It was like a single shot. Nearly everyone in my theater groaned.
Every child in the theater, though, said, Mom, it's Fortnite.
Everyone in my theater groaned. Even my little brother and his friend who play Fortnite, they were just like, oh god, like, because to them it was like the equivalent of like that clip.
Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah, that clip of the news people who were like, you know what I'm talking about? The news people who were like, keep it fresh and focused. And yeah. Oh my god. So that was weird, but it was good to hear Taika Waititi.
He's delightful.
Thor was fantastic. Cap. Okay, can I just say, Tony and Cap's the finale to their characters is the most appropriate shit I have ever seen, and I didn't expect the way either of them were handled. I don't know if we want to jump right into this. Let's do it. We're an hour 15 into this.
Can we preface it by saying that the moment that Tony shows up and he's like, oh yeah, he turned into a baby, didn't he? But then he shakes hands with Cap, and it's like, oh my god, Steve and Tony. I haven't seen them do this since 2016. This feels so great.
It was really good.
And you know what? Apparently that was in like a teaser that they had released, like the day that tickets were starting to go on sale. And I had a friend who called me and he said, "Hey, have you watched the new Avengers trailer yet?" And I was like, "No, I haven't yet." He's like, "Good, don't. There's something in it that spoils something that happens, and I wish I hadn't watched it, and I want to save you the trouble of that as well." And I was like,
good.
"Oh, okay.
That's
all right,
very
I won't
nice
watch
of
it."
him.
And then after the movie, he was like, "Hey, well, actually, we were talking about things we really liked. I told him that I really liked that part." He's like, "Hey, guess what? That was the thing that I told you not to watch."
Yep. I would have been mad if I would have been like actually upset if that got spoiled for me too. Because that was a really, really
because you know it's
going
to happen, but I still didn't want to see it.
I love the fact because it's so Tony. It's so Tony. The fact that he like refused, couldn't get it out of his mind, fixed the fucking problem, and then went to go help them out. Like he has always been like that. And now I'm like getting emotional, like thinking about like how he's been a character like this past 10 years that I've seen.
11 years
11,
now.
yeah, 11 years that I've seen him. I've like admired him, you know, for like it's insane.
How perfect is it
over the course of like 10 movies.
How perfect is it that the ending of Iron Man 1, where he's like, "You know what? I am Iron Man," which is so crazy because at that time, every superhero movie was about a superhero who hides their identity. And at the end, you're like, okay, how's he going to explain this? And he's like, "Nah, fuck it. It's me." And then the fact that they used that line
really
to
good.
perfectly wrap up his character arc. Holy shit.
Dude, that was fantastic. Thank God, I was terrified in the back of my head. I was like, the same guy who said, "Say it," for Avengers Assemble.
Thank God he didn't say it during that,
He didn't
right?
for that part.
Good.
But he goes,
and the
but
fact
he's like,
that he gets to die with Pepper and Peter right there with him.
I know,
you know?
dude, fuck.
So
and she
good.
goes, what
and
she
then
says,
when the
what
light
she says,
blinks off on him, oh my God.
what she says to him, she goes, "Tony, we're going to be okay." Like that.
You can rest now. Like, oh my God.
Oh God.
Like, I feel like we're just nerding out about this, but I can't even express how pitch perfect it was, you know?
Dude, because here's the thing. I was afraid like a lot more were gonna die. I cannot believe
Yeah,
like,
me too.
So here's what when I saw Doctor Strange hold up one finger, I still am not sure what that means, but I have a suspicion because remember when he said, "If I tell you what's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen." I think that was his way of saying one of us has to go.
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, especially with the whole, "If I tell you what's going to happen, it won't happen." What I got from that, especially since he's talking specifically to Tony, is if I tell you, "Hey, you're going to sacrifice yourself and save everybody," then it won't happen, because even though Tony's the type of person who would absolutely make that decision to do it, that doesn't change the fact that if he knows he's about to die, he might hesitate.
Yeah,
you know,
it's true,
and that would ruin the whole thing.
It's true. It was so fucking perfect, and again that.
Well, I'll say it was imperfect in one way, and that is when Thanos puts on the gauntlet at the end of Infinity War. The energy surges through him. It's going crazy in him. It's a big old rainbow through his veins. Same thing happens to Hulk, but for some reason it doesn't happen to Tony. So that there can be a reveal.
I didn't think about that.
Which is a little weird, but again, it's like, you know, there's so many ways you could say, "Oh, well, maybe it's because he's wearing the full Iron Man suit or something," or you could just say, "Well, you know, maybe it's just a nitpick to be too bothered by that."
Sure.
You know?
No, that is interesting. I think
because
so.
I wasn't thinking that immediately when it happened. That was something I thought of after I saw.
I didn't even notice that it was
kind of weird, but right, that's the thing. Like, it didn't take you out of it. Narratively, so I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a. Yeah, no. So it's not a problem narratively, or like, even in the execution of it, it's just a visual effect that honestly they probably forgot to fucking add. Like
they very well probably did.
And
but it's fine.
Yeah, it's that that seems so unimportant.
So nothing.
Yeah. But I do see how that's like maybe add that for like the Blu-ray release. Oh my god, dude. I again, him saying, well, I am Iron Man. Like I fucking I knew what was about to happen, and for some reason I thought he might be saved. I was like, what if everyone comes out of this okay? What if is everyone gonna, maybe everyone's gonna be okay?
But if Tony had been saved, I think it wouldn't have been as impactful.
It would not. It would not. And as
much as I love Tony, I also was prepared for him to die in the last movie.
I thought I was ready.
And it still hurt. It still stings. But I'm glad it happened the way it did, because it's the perfect ending for him. He got to have his family. Yeah. Before he went out, which I loved.
I saw a picture. When my little brother showed me on the way, out, like he was looking at like spoiler, like art and all that kind of shit. There's a picture of his daughter holding the Iron Man helmet, and it just said, "I love you 3000." And I
God damn it!
Broke.
I hope that.
Oh my God.
I hope that we get to see.
An Iron Woman movie in 10 years.
Well, I hope we get to see Peter acting as like a brother figure for her going forward.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Uncle Peter.
And I know you and I had talked about this.
Yes,
I think we talked about this like 2 months ago.
God,
that's okay. Do you remember like 2 months ago when we were talking about how, you know, we were glad that Far From Home was confirmed, at least last time I checked, is confirmed to take place after Endgame. And I was talking about how I'm pretty sure Tony is not going to make it out of this movie alive. And I really, as sad as that makes me, I really cannot wait to see Peter being the traditional Peter Parker, in that he's now going to have to create his own tech, which I think is so cool, you know, because like it makes sense that with Tony sort of being his benefactor,
it's true
that
I need, that'll probably be,
it makes sense that things have been the way that they've been so far, but I also want to see him sort of, you know, taking up the reins and doing
I definitely do too, but the problem with that is it's definitely not happening in Far From Home because of Nick Fury.
No, exactly.
Which is unfortunate, but whatever.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you've seen the trailers, right?
Yeah.
I guess Far From Home spoiler trailers, but trailer spoilers. But I still stand by my theory that Mysterio is totally a villain, and Sandman, Hydro Man, Molten Man, and like, you know, any other villain that was shown is like a hologram.
Was that your theory? I thought that was my theory. Because we've talked about that, and I feel the exact same way.
Yeah, I like, maybe, I don't know, maybe
because Mysterio needs to be a villain. You know?
He totally is. But
let's hope he goes the way of Vulture and he survives the ending
for an eventual Sinister Six film.
Potentially, but even just at the very least, I like the idea of. Well, first of all, I'm maybe speaking a little too early, but because the team behind Homecoming was so great at what they did in, you know, writing these great characters, and the fact that he's played by Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm already fairly certain he's probably going to be a great character in the movie.
Oh yeah,
which is a dangerous thing to say, but I'm pretty sure
it's fucking Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's gonna do a really good job. You know.
I think so too.
It'll be interesting. I'm so glad we got to see some Peter Parker in Endgame. I knew we probably would.
And I'm glad that even after being told that he's been dead for 5 years, he's still the exact same character.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, Mr. Stark, oh, it's so good to see you. We woke up on the planet.
I woke up and that Doctor Strange guy was like, hey, it's been 5 years.
We came here. I must have passed out or something. And just Tony's hug immediately. It was
oh my God.
And
dude,
he's just like,
that killed me.
Oh, this is nice. Like, oh, Mr. Stark. Oh, geez, Mr. Stark. Oh, I don't know about any of this. Oh. Shut up, Peter. Damn it. Shut up, Peter. We gotta go kill Thanos, Peter.
Oh, why are you doing this to
me? Shut up, Peter. Get in the.
Is it because you know I love Rick and Morty and hate 80% of the people who also love Rick and
Morty? God, I still that one of my favorite Vine Sauce clips of all time. I think because I've shown you the like year recap video or whatever is when he's playing Totally Accurate Battle Simulator and he's like, what is this? And he sees just like a giant pickle suit, and he puts it on, and he goes, Morty. Like that is the funniest fucking thing to me. And it shouldn't be, but it totally is. You gotta suck this dick, Morty. But yeah, I cannot express just how absolutely perfect this movie was in so many ways. I mean, it satisfied basically everything I wanted. I thought I was so terrified that Cap was going to die, and I think it's incredible that he didn't. And what he does is
so perfect,
so good.
Like it makes so much sense. Like, you know, there are people I've seen say things like, so what, he just abandoned his duty? It's like, dude, he has done so much for everybody in the entire world. He deserves to be able to retire, especially
his duty's over. Like
yeah, when the first Avengers came out, there were what, like a small handful of people with superpowers who existed in the world, and you know, by the time Endgame ends, there are so many. Like, I get the feeling he's like, I'm not needed. I trust these guys, you know? Like, it's finally time that he can go back and live the life he deserved to live, man.
It's true. I love the fact that he used his second Pym particle to just fuck right off and go further back. I
also love that the movie just ends with him and Peggy dancing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because I was like, okay, Tony got his arc. That's great. But I was looking at Cap in one scene and I just went, I'm sorry. Like, in my head, I thought, man, why can't, like, I was like, what are they gonna do with you? And I never in a million years thought that they would just do what they did until he doesn't come back. When he's not there, I go, oh my God. I went, he fucking did it, the absolute madman. Like, I was like, dude, what a legend. Seeing Tony Stark interact with his dad was cool too. That was really interesting. And seeing, kind of like humanizing him.
I'm so glad he finally got to, you know, have a real conversation as like a fully formed adult with his father, you know?
It's true, because he's had daddy issues for a hot minute.
So many plot lines just get resolved so well.
And you don't even realize it's happening. Like, the setups are fantastic, and it hits you with that resolution before you even know what the fuck's going on.
And let's not discount Sam getting the shield at the end.
Oh, dude. I
was expecting it to be Bucky, and when it ended up being Sam, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah. It does. I mean, it's so, and seeing him, old Cap, that was a shock, especially at how good the CG was. Like,
Yeah, it looked
At
great.
first, I thought it was just an old guy, and then I was like, and then I looked at it, and I was like, no, holy shit, that's Chris Evans. Like, I was like, god damn. Sam just being like, I'll do my best, or whatever it is he says, was so good. And then
Can I also just say that CGI young Michael Douglas continues to look great
yeah. Oh god. And another thing,
with that goofy mop of hair on his head.
yeah. Oh man, that's very good. I love the fact that what am I talking about here? That Sam goes, "You want to tell me about her?" And Cap just goes, I don't think I do. Like, just like, that was the funniest shit.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Oh, man.
Yeah. It's funny. The more we talk about it, the more it's just like, man, I really want to catch it again. But at the same time, every single showing of this movie is going to be packed for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I don't know if I want to see it again within even like a month. It's one of those things that it's so good that I really want to let it settle for a second.
That's fair. I can respect that for sure.
I don't know, man. It was so like seeing the insurmountable odds of Thanos' warship just fucking blasting out of the quantum realm was wild. And then just the whole place being destroyed and thinking Paul Rudd fucking died.
Oh god, that was
like
I was like, oh my god, they killed Scott.
That's literally what went through my head. I was like, no, not fucking Paul Rudd. No, please God. And then he's fine. And that was so good. And seeing Rocket back with Groot. But yeah, so anyway, seeing that
That's
happen.
right, because Rocket, he didn't see Groot for 5 years.
Yeah. Oh God.
I also thought it was funny that Rocket could not remember Mantis's name.
Yeah, is it the lady?
Despite
with
the fact that
antlers?
4 years or so are supposed to go by between the end of Guardians 2 and Infinity War, Rocket does not remember her name.
Really?
I don't even, if I remember right, doesn't he even say the chick with the antenna? Like, he doesn't even say multiple. Like, he doesn't even remember that she has more than one.
Oh man. Wait, 4 years, really? Well, then that makes the fact that
I believe so,
Gamora
because they say
that makes the fact that it's a different Gamora even more heartbreaking with Chris,
right? Yeah, exactly.
They had
That's the thing,
a relationship. But again, at the same time, I cannot wait to see them just fucking fall in love all over again in Volume 3.
See, that's the way. I'm unclear as to exactly what the deal is with Gamora, because whenever I first saw, the movie, at the end, you've got the part where all the Guardians are on their ship and they're leaving Earth and Gamora's not there. And I left the movie thinking, I guess she had to go back to her own timeline. But then I kind of was looking it up to see if anybody else was curious about this. And I don't know if this is 100% confirmed. Apparently, this Gamora is still around.
Yeah, no, you
somewhere.
missed something. You totally missed something. So there is a shot where you see Chris Evans in the ship, and on the board in front of him, you see Gamora's picture, and he's swiping through a couple people, and he gets to Gamora, and under her it says missing.
Oh, okay.
She just fucking fucked off.
I did totally miss that.
After they killed Thanos, and she fucked off.
Yeah, so she's around there somewhere.
Yeah, so...
but yeah, the fact that it is a different Gamora, she's the same person,
knows,
but at the same time, she doesn't have all the same life experiences, though. So it's not
it's
the Gamora of this universe is still... She's dead. She's gone,
It's true.
It's interesting. That's the only thing I can say. Is it's interesting.
Really hope that we get to see them fall in love all over again. Have the headphone thing.
I definitely
maybe,
think that's going to be part.
I don't know.
I definitely think that'll be part of the plot of Guardians 3 for sure.
I am scared though that you know, they might not. I couldn't see that not happening, but
I mean, I definitely don't think they're going to go the route of her being a villain again.
Yeah,
considering the fact
God.
that she went pretty much full-on hero in this movie. Especially with
it's
the
probably
whole,
going to be like Volume 3 is probably hunting them down, and Adam Warlock and some other shit. But
yeah.
what were you saying?
I will say this. Do you remember? Because you didn't initially see Infinity War until like, what was it, like a few weeks after it came out, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Do you remember when we first talked about it after you had seen it, and I was like, hey, I've got this theory about Thor. Do you remember this?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, so I was telling you about how Chris Hemsworth had, around the time the movie was coming out, had been saying that even though his contract was up, he felt like he had really finally come into the character of Thor with Ragnarok, and he wanted to be Thor in more movies because he was really starting to fall in love with it again. And I had said, after the rapport that he has with all of the characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy, I would love it if he just fucking joined them, right? And he was just in Guardians 3.
I probably
this
was
movie
like, oh,
makes
that'll
it look
never
like
happen.
this movie makes it look like that is exactly what is happening.
That's totally what's happening. That's 100,000%.
And apparently they're also in talks, according to Tessa Thompson, who plays Valkyrie. Apparently she said, yeah, they're in talks with Taika Waititi to make a Thor 4 as well.
Oh, fuck yes.
So,
well, that's probably okay.
I'm
so
fine
let's
with
come
that.
back to the implications of time travel. Where the fuck did Loki go? Because he wasn't
Right?
supposed to do that. Like, no one I saw
No,
it
he
with,
was
all my little
not.
brothers were like, wait, oh my God, you're right. They didn't even think about Loki. but he just fucks off. He was not supposed to do that. Thor 2, like, just doesn't happen anymore. And
dude, there are so many splintered timelines we can explore now.
so Loki's fucking alive. Loki is 100%.
Well, here's the thing. Loki in the timeline where the movie happens, you know, like the main timeline, I'm pretty sure he's dead, right? Because things can't be reversed, right?
I don't
Because
know.
we see old man Steve there, but like he must have, whenever he went back and lived with Peggy Carter, right? It must have been like, it would have had to have been a splintered timeline, because otherwise so much shit wouldn't have happened the same way. You know, the future would have been not necessarily changed, because the way I understand it, based on how they describe it, is that, you know, you go back in time and change the past, and they say, oh, you're not changing our future, you're changing, like, you're still moving forward through time. And so that leads me to believe that basically by going back and, you know, taking, you know, because, well, it's confusing. I feel like I'm rambling and
No. I mean,
struggling to explain. But yeah, like, otherwise does, because it's so confusing, because it's like, well, if Steve went back and lived with Carter, that means she never she never married anybody else, so she had no granddaughter for Steve to date. Well, she probably had a granddaughter, but my point is, frozen, thawed Steve from the future wouldn't be dating her granddaughter at that point, because she's married to Steve himself, and that would be weird. And so and plus, Hydra knows that Steve knows they're Hydra, so that couldn't have happened the same way.
Well, here's kind of how, you know, I see it. Here's how I see it, right? I see it as Days of Future Past, where, and here's another interesting thing. If Thanos came back from the past and got dusted, can he then, I don't think he can then continue to live to kill Loki.
But again,
does that make sense?
The way I see it, the Thanos that comes from the past, the moment he left the past and came to the future and died, or really even left the past, like, that would have become its own timeline where Thanos went to the future and never came back.
No. They even say that that's not what it is, because
okay.
What's her name? fuck, I'm forgetting her name, Dr. Strange lady, is like, you can't just fucking make timelines and fuck shit up like that. And Bruce goes, no, we're not going to do that.
Is that how she described it?
Yeah. She's like, you can't fuck my timeline for another one.
I thought what she was saying was by removing the Infinity Stone and not restoring it to that timeline, that would ruin the timeline, essentially.
Sure. I don't know. I guess that would make sense.
It's confusing, but it's time travel, and it acknowledges that it's confusing.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that it basically says, "Look, it's time travel. There's no way this is going to be totally clean.
They mention Back to the
Just
Future
accept
by
it."
name twice.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the line from Scott. So Back to the Future was bullshit.
Yeah, Back to the Future was a bunch of bullshit. I love. Yeah, I love that. But at the same time, I think Loki's out there. I really think he is. But I at the same time, I'm not too sure. Because he was not supposed to get away with the Tesseract. Like, that's not supposed to happen. So...
Yeah, and you know what else is interesting is, whenever he'd run away with the Tesseract, like, he definitely wouldn't go back to Thanos, because at that point he'd already failed him by not taking over Earth. So, who knows? Maybe, because I think there's been talks of like there being a Loki TV series. Maybe the plot of that is Loki is on the run from 2012 Thanos. I don't know.
Interesting.
There's so many weird implications, and time travel is always a mess, and I just love that they acknowledged that it was a mess,
So I'm reading something. When something is altered in the past rather than changing the future, it creates an alternate universe where those events occurred. Okay, yeah. Loki is likely alive and thriving in one of those alternate universes.
So it was the thing that I thought.
Well,
then.
Maybe. That's just what this person is theorizing.
Yeah, okay, so this is just some guy spitballing, in other words.
Well, he's kind of talking about, explains the film's rigid time travel system. Yeah, I guess it is pretty much what they're going for.
Yeah, it's an interesting time travel system.
Yeah,
for sure.
no, I like it.
I do too.
So, yeah, this moment created an
confusing.
entirely new timeline where Loki is alive, allowing him to do just about anything he wants, which leans right into his new Disney Plus show. Well,
oh boy.
Tom Hiddleston is expected to reprise his role for Loki as the show. Interesting. Disney Plus will launch in the US in November 2019. That's fucking wild. I didn't even realize there was going to be a Loki show. Interesting.
Yeah. But man, let me just say that I know it's from the previous film, but Loki's death is so perfect the way that it is, Like the fact that by the end of Ragnarok, he's finally actually on his brother's side.
Yeah.
Genuinely. And he ends up dying trying to save him. It's the perfect end to his arc.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
I'm still sad that he's gone because obviously everybody likes Loki. Heimdall was cool. I didn't have that much of an attachment to him, but Thor 3 made him cooler, so sucked to see him go as well. Poor Vision got to die twice.
Yeah.
Gamora got to die, but then a past version of herself is here now. So, okay. It's oh man.
It's
something.
really fun. And I love I
love how it's getting really comic booky. Like that's the thing, right?
That's what
the movie itself is like this real like dramatic thing, but the implications now that the movie are over, like they can do whatever the hell they want now.
And
they can introduce these weird characters. They can do whatever they want, and I can't wait to see what they do to really breathe life into it and try to stop comic book superhero fatigue from really setting in.
And I saw a quote from someone that said, or some publication that said Avengers Endgame is the most comic book movie that has ever fucking been made. And I completely agree, because it's like Thanos from the past comes to avenge Thanos from the future that's already dead, and they time travel like 4 times, and you know it's so good. It's fantastic. Don't
you love how Thanos in this finally he just goes full on evil?
Yes.
You know? Because let's be real, you know, there are the people who are like, well, technically Thanos isn't really evil, he's just misguided. It's like, no, he's causing a genocide.
Yeah, he is evil. Yeah,
the likes of which that is evil. Like, there's no way
matter
around
what's
it. That
in
is evil.
Like, twisted logic doesn't make someone not evil.
Just because he doesn't want to kill people for the same reason Hitler wanted to kill people doesn't make it any better.
Exactly.
You know?
And I feel like,
but then whenever he sees himself being killed by people who resent him for doing what he did, like, it makes sense that because he is, at the end of the day, a bad guy, you know, it makes sense that he's like, I'm gonna destroy your entire planet and I'm gonna enjoy it this time. Like, it makes sense because he saw them kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He knows what they're capable of.
It's completely true.
Oh my god, you know what I just realized? We've been here for an hour and 45 minutes. We haven't even mentioned Steve and the Hammer.
I was about to mention that like 45 minutes ago. I love the fact that he got to like fight with that. That is the fucking coolest thing. And so, and again, I remember thinking when Thor took that, I was like, wait. So Thor in this universe now is fucked. Like the
Well, you gotta remember, Steve took the hammer back whenever he, you know, returned all the stones. So whenever he took back the ether, I assume that he probably immediately left the hammer back there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Damn it. Okay.
Because that hammer is still destined to be destroyed by Cate Blanchett.
True. The hammer's still very immortal. I love the fact that it was so weird. You know, I cannot get enough weird shit in mainstream media, and it's
absolutely
it's so fun. So
I love
cool.
that people are finally starting to realize that people like weird.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Like, weird is so marketable.
There's a reason Rick and Morty is the most popular show on Adult Swim.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I saw something. So this is kind of unrelated, but it popped in my head. So I think I saw a quote from, I want to say it was I Hate Everything, but I don't want to misattribute. I happened to be on Letterboxd logging a film yesterday, and I saw that I was logging Captain Marvel, and I saw that he had reviewed, he had given Endgame, you know, a rating and said something about it. The only thing he said, at least I think it was him, was, oh no, it might not have been him. It might have been someone. Oh, okay, whatever. I think I'm totally misattributing. But somebody said about Endgame, Captain Marvel has basically ruined this entire universe. And
interesting.
I
thought she was handled very well in Endgame.
Me
she's not there a whole lot, but when she is there, I feel like she's very effective. She feels very powerful, but never at any point does she feel like she's
like Deus Ex Machina. She totally isn't, because she even totally, though she shows up.
I think she is kind of a Deus Ex Machina, but not in a bad way.
Sure.
In a way that makes sense.
In a way that feels
like she's
earned.
There to kind of help. Yeah, like she helps sort of even the tides a little bit in the battle.
Oh, sure.
Like by destroying Thanos' ship. That was awesome.
Yeah.
You know? But at the same time, when fighting Thanos, when he doesn't even have the stones, like she's still, you know, out, like every individual character is physically outmatched by Thanos.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
including
fascinating.
Thor and Captain Marvel.
That's so fascinating.
And Thor and Captain Marvel are our two most powerful characters.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that she can
and Vision
just
too,
like
he's dead.
blow through an entire ship. It's the coolest fucking shit I've
great.
ever seen. Like, I never thought we'd get to this point. When I was watching Iron Man, I remember thinking, like, years ago, not even Iron Man, but, you know, just Spider-Man and any any old superhero movie when I was like a kid, I remember thinking like, wow, I wonder if we'll ever see anything in like a movie as weird as like the Spider-Man clone saga, or like, something that that's like so deep into mythos that you have to like know so much, and like it's so far down the line. Like we're there. We're totally there.
Yeah,
like at least universally, like Marvel in general went cosmic like 5 years ago, and nobody cared.
Oh yeah, as soon as
nobody gave a shit.
As soon as Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and everyone was like, "What is this?" But then they saw it and they were like, "Oh, this is really good."
Yeah, like if that was handled like poorly, like the universe, like it was in trouble. The MCU, like because you have to base, like Captain Marvel, because I know they're gonna just go more cosmic and everything, but
oh, for sure.
Like if that was mishandled, we'd see a very different MCU. I don't know about different MCU, but there'd be very different reception to the MCU.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm so happy that it's
I
as
still
popular
remember,
as it is, honestly. Even if
in
its popularity is super shallow, I still am just happy that it's popular. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I still remember back in 2011, I guess it was, whenever the MCU at that point, it consisted of Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. And the next movies coming out, and very close to each other, I believe. Like, I think one was May and the other one was like June or July. The next movies coming out were Thor and Captain America. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine's little brother who's like a big comic book guy. And he was saying that, as much as he likes all of these characters, he could see how Captain America would make sense, but he wasn't sure how well Thor would translate into film, like especially considering the fact that it's the same universe that has these particular versions of, Iron Man and Hulk that are very, at the time, were fairly grounded in reality, I guess, at least relatively speaking, compared to comic books typically. And I just remember saying, I mean, it works in the comics, and, I trust that it'll work here too. And, a lot of people don't really like Thor 1 all that much, and I get it, but I enjoy Thor 1 quite a bit. I think it's a really interesting movie. It's really oddly Shakespearean compared to where they went with Thor later, it's more traditional in that way.
Yeah.
But like, Kenneth Branagh, the guy who directed it, is a fairly Shakespearean dude, so it makes sense that is what the movie would be from him. And I think it's a good movie, and it doesn't really get enough credit, and that the Kat Dennings character is annoying. But whatever. Thor 2, I won't really defend that much.
Yeah,
at all. I don't think Thor 2 is all that
neither.
great, but I like Thor 1 a lot. Not a lot, but like a good bit. But yeah, I mean, even then, I don't think anyone after it came out was complaining like, well, this doesn't make any sense to be in the same universe. Like, that wasn't something anybody was saying. The only real complaints were people who thought it was boring, Mm-hmm. But then again, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, and suddenly it's like, oh, wow, this is really weird, but people are really gravitating to it.
Yeah, and, I love the first Guardians. It's such just a good story. There's so much about it, like even disconnected from everything else Marvel. It's so weird and out there and fun and narratively like compelling.
James Gunn was the perfect choice to make that. Oh God,
yeah. Oh yeah,
the perfect, and the fact that he's back now,
it fills me.
I'm so happy.
The fact that we're doing this at a point where we know that he's back.
Yes,
like I am so, and the fact that right now we get to say I'm so happy instead of fuck. God damn it!
Right.
Get him back.
Yes,
like I'm so glad that he is back, slated to do Volume 3, because that gives because Volume 3 was like in like
it was originally going to come out. I think its original time slot, or not time slot, but its release slot, I believe, is the one that is now going to Spider-Man: Far From Home. I think.
And now it's like now. I don't think production happened for like the last I think most pre-production didn't even happen. Oh yeah, no,
he has to make his Suicide Squad reboot first. That's part of the deal with DC.
Yeah. And then And so I don't think it's going to happen for like probably 2 or 3 years at least.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while. And I remember they used to talk about how Guardians 3 was going to be the ushering in of Phase 4. That's not the case anymore.
No, and that's really unfortunate.
We don't even know what the first film of Phase 4 is, because technically Far From Home is supposed to be, I guess, sort of like, I don't want to say an epilogue, but an end cap to Phase 3.
Yeah.
And to the entirety of what is apparently now the first 3 phases are called the Infinity Saga, which makes sense and is a good title for them.
Yeah. So here, let's see. So the upcoming Marvel movies, all we have in the... Why are these listed in the MCU? This is weird. So I looked up upcoming Marvel movies, and it's like movies-MCU. This could just be a Google fuck-up, but Dark Phoenix, it says Dark Phoenix, Gambit, Far From Home, Guardians Volume 3, and Black Widow. Speaking of that, how the hell are they going to make Black Widow now? Like...
I know. It's gonna have to be.
It's
gonna have to be back in time, I guess. I mean, like not time travel, but it's gonna have to take place, before this. Honestly, I don't think it's necessarily something I think I'd rather this be open to interpretation and not seen. But like, clearly in the 5 years between the first act and the remainder of Endgame, clearly she takes over what it essentially is S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. And you could make the argument of like, oh, maybe there's an interesting story of hers to be told in that time period. But at the same time, I kind of like having that time jump without knowing everything that happens.
I get that. Yeah, maybe it could happen in the time jump. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't even know. I don't know. I guess that's what's cool about it. But
yeah,
I'll be interested to see what the fuck Adam Warlock is about, because I know like nothing about that character.
Right. Yeah, part of me wondered if they weren't being very, very sneaky, and he was going to somehow appear in this just because he's so tied in with Thanos in the comics.
I thought he was gonna like show up, but apparently not.
Yeah, at the very least. But no, I guess they're holding on to him, which is fine. I'm curious to see what they do with him. Especially since they put the annoying gold people into Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and watered down the narrative just so they could tease his existence at the end.
Oh, this says, I don't know how much you want to know this, but I found a thing that says the plot is under wraps, but the film is said to chronicle Natasha Romanoff's time as a spy before the events of the Avengers.
Interesting. So they can't really have Scarlett Johansson play her then, can they? I mean, unless they're gonna like slightly de-age her, because I mean, of course, Scarlett Johansson, she doesn't look old or anything. But
I doubt they'd do that. I don't think it's really necessary. So the Eternals is apparently what they're thinking about. It's a comic series, a group of superpowered and nearly immortal beings. Okay. Yeah, Angelina Jolie is supposed to be in that.
Oh yeah, I remember they announced that recently, didn't they?
Oh yeah, Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, that one's coming out.
I never even heard anything about this. So
I don't know much about the character, but it's based on what I've heard, it seems like that might end up being the next MCU movie. I think maybe, but I'm not 100% sure.
But yeah, Shang-Chi looks interesting. And then there's Guardians Volume 3, Doctor Strange 2. Okay.
There's going to be, I mean, I don't know if they've officially announced a Black Panther 2, but that's totally going to happen.
Yep, that's the next one on this list.
That's one of the biggest cash cows. I'm pretty sure they are doing an Ant-Man 3, which now that Cassie's a teenager, I believe, I've just realized now that I think I say I believe things too often, but
I like it.
I believe that, I believe in the comics she eventually becomes a similar
the Moth
hero to Ant-Man. I think she's called I want to say it's like Stinger is her name.
Oh, okay, maybe. But I don't know if she's the moth, but I remembered at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, the moth like came up right when like she was saying, I want to be like Daddy or something, or be his partner or whatever.
Interesting. Yeah. But like, especially with that tease, I can't help but wonder if now that she is a teenager, how interesting would it be if that's like a plot point? Maybe Scott is training his daughter to do something similar to him or something. I don't know. It'd be cool.
That would be...
I'd be down for that.
Really cool.
Especially since we want to start introducing, a younger generation. We've got our, young Peter Parker. Let's get some more,
Oh, wait.
Because I want to see more movies about characters that I don't know as much about.
Okay, wait. So this says things that... This is an article I found. It was things that were missed in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And the last... One of them here is possible foreshadowing of future female villain. While Scott, Hope, and Cassie watching their drive-in flick at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, a moth attacks the car they are in due to Scott turning on the windshield wipers. For most, this seems normal, but in the MCU, it could be an introduction to a Marvel comic villain named Skeen, or Skane. But she became the villain, whatever, after joining a group. She's also gone up against Spider-Woman and the Avengers. Skeen... I don't think that makes sense. Like, I think that, like, because that happening right then seemed like it was, here, hang on, Ant-Man daughter. Because, like, she totally should be, like, a moth-based superhero. That would make so much sense, But I guess, I don't know if that ever happens. Like, I'm looking at it, and it doesn't really... Oh, there's really cute fan art of Scott Lang and Cassie. Oh, here, I'm going to send this your way. That's adorable. Anyway, because I thought that would be like a thing. Like, I was looking at that and I was like, oh, she totally, it has to be a thing, but I don't know. Stinger. Oh yeah, you said Stinger here.
Yeah, I thought that was correct, and I guess it was.
Oh yeah, she totally is like a moth-based. Yeah, fuck yeah, okay. It looks like it.
Well,
so yeah, okay, that's totally what that was. I don't know what this article is talking about. Skeen. Who the fuck is that?
I don't know.
But yeah, no, what a fucking good movie. I love the fact that, oh my god, Tony Stark calling Thor the dude, or like Lebowski or whatever.
Oh my god, that was one of my favorite bits in the entire, because especially with the sunglasses and the robe and everything, he looked, it was spot on, I'll say that much.
God, that was so good.
It was a good movie, Adam. In fact, it's not even really doing it justice to say it was a good movie. It was a great movie.
It's true.
Like, honestly, I think to myself, some of my personal favorite movies, there's a list. There are plenty of them, but like some that pop off on the top of my head: Pulp Fiction, Lord of the Rings, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So many great movies. I honestly think I have to put the combination of Infinity War and Endgame right up there with those as like one of my favorite things, like, ever. I really, really love what they've done with this. Me
too. It's insane that the legacy of the MCU has, like, I mean, it's not going to end anytime soon, but this is definitely the end of an era.
Yeah, and if you were to tell me, hey, they announced that this is the end, this is where everything ends, I would say, cool. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
I think Guardians 1 is still my favorite film in the whole franchise, though.
It might be for me. I don't even know. I'd have to think about that long and hard. Because Homecoming is really fucking great too.
Yeah. Up until this point, I could safely say my top three were Homecoming, or Guardians 1, Homecoming, and Iron Man, probably in that order.
Okay.
And I think Guardians is still at the very top, but I'm not sure where this one, like, I'm not sure if I would put it between Spider-Man and Iron Man, or Guardians and
Yeah, I don't
Spider-Man,
know.
or below Iron Man, because Iron Man I do have a lot of nostalgia for as well. And I don't know, man. But
Yeah.
it was a wild ride, and I'm glad I took it.
Dude, me too. It was just wild, and I'm honestly excited just to see what the hell they do after this. I personally,
Exactly.
I hope it's more low stakes, really interesting films like Ant-Man and the Wasp, to kind of bring things full circle here in our conversation. I hope that they kind of tone back the grand scheme of things to a degree, but at the same time, these Avengers films, I really don't want them to go anywhere. I would love us to get
No, I definitely wanted Avengers 5. With,
yeah,
like,
I would love to
different
get an
characters,
Avengers 5 in like 5 years.
I think it does need to be a while,
Yes,
for sure.
I think 5 years is an appropriate amount of time, because when even did Ultron come out?
Ultron was, I think the Avengers movies were 2012, 15,
Ultron
18
was, oh my god,
19.
Ultron was
So-
4 years ago. And before, Infinity War, it'd have been like 3 years. So technically Civil War was kind of a fucking Avengers movie.
Yeah, I mean, Civil War is definitely Avengers 2.5. But I think the main reason it's a Captain America movie, aside from the fact that it does focus mainly on him, but I think the main reason it's not an Avengers movie and that it's Captain America 3 is because there's no Thor or Hulk.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Which now the next Avengers movie probably have Thor and Hulk in it, but it's not going to have Tony or Steve.
No. Oh, man. Again, what they did to
Which, I mean, to
cap
be fair,
off.
we already knew that.
Yeah, no.
To cap off Cap.
Yeah, to cap off Cap and to finish off Tony. I think it couldn't have been more perfect for both of them. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Me too. But I feel like we could honestly talk about so many different things in this movie for a while longer, but nobody wants to hear that.
Nope.
If they even wanted to hear this much. So we should probably call this test episode of NatorPals or whatever we end up calling the show. Probably call it. And I'll just end it by saying this. Go see Shazam. It's very good.